Hey, guess what? I actually have a Twitter now. Come and follow me at Procrasturbate on Twitter. There you'll see some of the updates from the channel, including any of the tech stuff that I'm working on right now. Otherwise, I still have all of my other social media, including Facebook and Let's Procrastinate on Instagram. Hope to see you there. Many months ago, I decided that I wanted to go and find my old childhood Nintendo 64. I figured that if it was anywhere, it would be out in this old dingy sea container that sits on my parents' property. After all, that's where they seem to store a lot of all of our old childhood stuff. So I thought, alright, I'll go out there and have a look. Well, first little problem, the bees. For whatever reason, the bees have made a little bee nest underneath the sea container right at the door to the only place that I haven't managed to get to yet. So, yeah. Anyway, I thought, you know what, stuff it. I'll go through the other end where there are no bees. I'll go in there and I'll try and find this Nintendo 64. Well, in the meantime, not only did I find that Nintendo 64, I actually found our old childhood GameCube. Now, I don't have as fond memories of the GameCube, probably because it was a bit newer and it was something that we got when I was getting closer to my teenage years. Certainly hold the Nintendo 64 in higher esteem than the GameCube. However, I still enjoyed that thing, and if you take a look at what it looks like at the moment, yeah, you can tell this GameCube has had a pretty hard life. The top of it doesn't go down anymore. It's dusty. It's turning yellow. Can't even find any of the controllers, which is disappointing because I did have a couple, I think I had 3 Wavebird controllers for it, which are worth a fortune at the moment. And couldn't find any of the games for it. But I had the console, I had the power supply, and the N64 had its AV cable. Or we had the GameCube AV cable. It doesn't matter. They're both compatible with each other. So what I thought I would do is I would do something that I haven't been able to do before. I thought I would install a mod chip onto it, and I would start playing some of those games that I haven't played in could almost be a decade now. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to clean this thing up. I'm going to give it a mod chip. I'm going to tidy it up, new thermal paste, and try and get it as close to new condition as I possibly can. So let's go and take a look. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dismantle this bad boy. What we'll need is our GameBit screw bits, because this thing has little special heads on the bottom to prevent you from opening the console. Alright, we can now pull the top off. Now that that's come off, we need to pull off this front panel. Be very, very careful not to break these tiny little clips because they can be quite brittle. Once that comes off, undo the ribbon cable. Now we'll unscrew the shroud holding the fan in place. Alrighty, let's unplug the fan. And next we need to get onto the many screws that are holding most of this thing in place. So let's get our Phillips head on. and off comes the CD-ROM assembly. Alright, next let's unscrew the heatsink so we can get the board off. Alright, the board is off. Now we can get this little metal plate off. We'll flip it over and we'll get the little plastic covers off the bottom. And then we'll remove the little metal ground plates, I guess they are. Then we will pull the power module out with a few more screws to go. Time to get the heatsink off the mainboard now. Now the heatsink compound can be a little tough, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, probably not the best suggestion, but my metal spudger to try and spudge it off. Whatever you do, just be really careful while you're doing this because you don't want to accidentally pull a chip off instead. Under here is your CPU, your GPU and your RAM. So all the important bits. Once you spudge it enough, it should come off relatively easy with a bit of a twist. Once the heatsink is off, it's probably a good idea to remove all the thermal compound off the heatsink and off all the chips on the board. So I'm going to use the metal spudger on the aluminium heatsink and try and get as much of it as I can off. Now, so I don't damage anything, I'm going to use one of these plastic spudger things to try and get it off the CPU and the GPU. Alright, once that's done, we're going to separate the controller ports from the plastic fascia for the controller ports. So there's 2 screws on the back there. also take off these memory card flaps. Last but not least, we're going to take all the buttons and the mechanism and stuff off the top of the case, so we can give that a clean and get it working again. Alright, now that it's stripped down, what we need to do is give it a bit of a wash. All these plastics are covered in dirt and dust and God knows what else. Looking at the board itself, the board actually seems to be okay, which is really good considering it's been in an old sea container, and I mean, it had a little bit of the elements on it. I was expecting a bit of rust on it, but I think we got lucky in this case. Let's take it down to the sink, let's get all the dirt off and go from there. Well, I've got the duckies out and this GameCube is now going for a bath. I'm actually using CPAP liquid detergent to clean the plastics just because it's a little bit milder, a little bit softer. You probably don't need to, but I figured why not? I've got it there. Other than that, it's just some warm water and a toothbrush to get into those hard to reach places. So let's go. On to the part that I've been umming and ahhing about for quite a long time. Retrobright. Now, as you probably may have guessed, this is the very first time that I've actually done anything like this before. I've never retrobrighted a console in my entire life, or anything for that matter. It's been quite a while since I've actually soldered anything, and I've never really soldered anything this intricate. And yeah, this is just not something that I've actually done before. So whatever you do, don't take this video as a be-all and end-all on how you repair one of these things. I'm going to do a pretty ordinary job of it, most likely. I'm going to do the best that I can, but yeah, I'm not an expert. It's the first time that I've done something like this before. I'm hoping not to damage the console, and I hope the console comes out working by the end of it, but we'll see what happens, I guess. I've seen other YouTubers like Adrian Black, 8-Bit Guy, how they've done retrobrighting. I'm going to give it a shot their way. The only problem I have at the moment is I can't get any peroxide as strong as they can in liquid form. But we'll toss it out in the sun, see how it goes, and go from there. Alright, let's get our plastics ready for retrobrighting by putting them into a clear container. Add some water. And add the peroxide in there. Make sure we mix it all up. And cover it with Glad wrap. Luckily, it's a lovely sunny day here today. Alright, so out in the sun that they go. Add a bit of extra water to this one, make sure everything's covered. And we'll leave it out here for a few hours. See how it goes. Alright, so the initial round of retrobrighting didn't turn out the way that I had hoped. Probably because it wasn't as strong as I hoped for. I couldn't get strong enough peroxide. I did some research on the internet. Yeah, that can be a bit of a rabbit hole. So I thought I would try something else that I found, which was mixing a stronger peroxide, which I'm getting off everyone's favourite marketplace. Mixing it with a little bit of Napisan Oxy-Action, whatever it's called, and some water, and applying it as a spray, and then going and spraying it every, I think they said 30 minutes. So going to give that a shot, see how that turns out. I'm not expecting greatness from this, and I'm kind of scared that I might mark the console, but we'll keep going. Let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, if I damage the case, there are a few new ones on eBay that I can buy and replace. And honestly, I'd rather a black console anyway. So let's go. As you can see, the sun is still out at the moment, so that's always a good start. So we'll give this a bit of a spray with this weird concoction. Using cream peroxide was probably not the best idea in hindsight, but unfortunately that's all I could get my hands on without having to go to industrial quantities. So we'll leave it out here until it needs a bit of a refresh. And every 30 minutes we'll spray it again just to make sure it doesn't dry out. As you can see, it has certainly lightened up the plastics quite a bit, but if you look closely, there is a bit of whitening and I guess crust over the top of some of the coloured plastics, so it didn't turn out quite as well as I hoped. The white plastics came out perfectly fine, or at least I thought they came out perfectly fine. They're a lot better than they used to be. Even the purple plastics are a lot better than they used to be. Unfortunately, the Delay TI sticker peeled away, which I'm not overly surprised at. The plastics themselves, if you look closely, you can see a little bit of a whitish colour has appeared on them. As I said, I'm not the happiest with the way this turned out. I'm sure if I did a bit more research, I could figure out a way to clean it up a bit more. But I'm not mad. It looks good. It looks infinitely better than it did. And yeah, look, ultimately I wasn't trying to turn this into a museum piece, and this is my first time actually doing any of this stuff. But yeah, it looks good. I like it. I'm happy with it. Alright, I think that's going to be it for this video today. Gotten the Retrobright done. Wasn't as good as I was hoping for, but at least it looks a lot better than it used to. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to install the PicoBoot mod chip, and then hopefully get it all back together. So thanks for watching. Tune in next time for the mod chip and when we finish this little project. If you like this video, you know what to do. Like it, hit subscribe, hit the little bell. If you didn't, you also know what to do. Thanks for watching.